Well, good evening. My name is Professor Shaps, and I'm going to be with you for the next 7 weeks. Oh, my goodness. You have no idea how fast this goes. I just closed the class last week, only a few days ago, and it went so fast. There's a lot of work, and I'm almost sure, based on teaching this class for 3 and some odd years, plus years, that most people that come to this orientation usually do better in the class by 50 to 80 points. So you're going to hear things, obviously, if you had watched the video, which is going to be available to watch, you're not going to quite get everything because you'll be able to ask questions at the end. So take a little note, whatever, and we'll go through that. We start off by saying if it's important, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. One of the worst things you can do with me is make an excuse. I hate excuses. Listen, if it's a medical excuse or reason, I had one student who went skiing. She hit a tree and broke her leg into, 28 pieces. I mean, it was just insanity. And so, we let her make up the work. But, my computer didn't work and so forth. We'll go through all of those parameters. If you got your speakers on, go get a cup of coffee or some water, a margarita, some chips, and let's get started. I just want to make sure this is a different program for me that I normally use. So anyway, I will tell you just a little bit about me and my background. I was the executive director of marketing for Universal Pictures for over 20 years, and that was and actually I didn't get that job until after I got a couple of my degrees, and I was young, so that was, I tell you how old I am, but I was probably in my early 20s. Anyway, bottom line is that I was there. I worked on about 400 movies. I did E.T., Schindler's List, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park. So if you go to my website, you might get a little bit more about me. I also have a book called The Optimal Variation Theory of Lead Generation, which is kind of dated now because things change so rapidly in the social media end of it. But I'm very, very lucky to be one of the pioneers of social media in the entertainment industry. I have a daughter who's 27 years old who is a social media strategist, takes after her dad. So let's talk about the class. Enough about me. I know you're going to go like, wow, this guy keeps talking about himself. One of the things you're going to get about me is that I'm not like, I have a, my attitude's kind of light and, and I'm just a regular guy. So, there's no reason to be afraid, to ask me questions. However, most of the questions that you're going to ask me are in the announcements or in the class, and that's why you need to go in and look at everything. Because I got to tell you something. I mean, I feel like a directory service sometimes. I get emails from students. I just have one. Where do we drop our assignment? Do we do this? Do we do that? Oh, come on. I went to school for 80 years to teach, a graduate program. I'm not the directory assistants. Everything is there. Everything is in the class, okay? Let's just keep it light. All right. So the first thing you need to do is go in and read the syllabus. There's actually 2, but part 2 is mine, and that'll tell you everything that's going on in the class. I understand you're going to read it and go, oh, my gosh, what's this? Okay, don't panic. Don't panic yet, because what we do in week 1, we're going to be doing in week 6. So once you get week 1 done, you know exactly what's coming in week 2. The only thing that's going to change is in weeks 2 and 4, you're going to have a different kind of assignment. And again, we'll go through all of this. Plagiarism. This is a biggie, and I got it as number 2. A lot of people are turning to plagiarism, which means they go in, they cut and paste, they put it into their work, and yeah, you could put a reference in, but a reference doesn't, a reference basically tells me somebody else wrote it. So if you want to write a paper that somebody else wrote and you're telling me, that's fine, but that doesn't count in this class. There are no tests. I'm looking for how you think. There's no right or wrong, okay? It's your opinion. I've taken this information, and this is the way I look at it. I know that this company has, 15 SBUs. I'm not going to list them all. Those are strategic business units. Like PepsiCo has Frito-Lay and then Taco Bell. And I don't need to hear all of that. I don't need a bunch of data. All right? I want to know how you take the information and turn it into something that is fairly easy to read. And the other thing I was going to tell you is you're writing for you. You're not writing for me. So, all that data is what we call fluff. I don't need it, and you'll lose points. You'll see that I'm really, really strict on formatting and those kinds of things. But once you understand that, and I've given you the different templates and things, you should have no problem. And that's why I'm trying to, I may be scaring you a little bit, but don't get scared, okay? I'm teaching you the way I want to be taught. I was never taught this way. I may write you, and it sounds like I'm mad at you. I'm not, all right? I have probably about 300 students. So it's, I do it really quick. And also my spelling may be off. Don't make fun of me. I just type really fast and boom, get it out. There's a calendar. Know when each assignment is due. We'll go over the calendar tonight. Rubrics and standard rubrics. When you go into the syllabus at the bottom, you will see these rubrics. Before you do anything, download those onto your computer. And if I were you, I would get myself a USB drive, one of those little thumb drives, and every time you do anything in this class, make a copy and put it into the USB drive, and I'll explain why. For instance, when you do your discussion posts, if you think you're that good that you could type them directly into those boxes, be my guest. In fact, you have one that's due today. However, you can go ahead and type them into Microsoft Word, save the file, copy it into the post. It's your work, and then of course you have your references. Now why? Because if your computer crashes, and you will see later on what qualifies as being an excuse for not doing your work, other than, well, you know what, I have to be honest with you, there was one student about a year ago who told me that they were abducted by aliens for a week and asked me if I could let him make up the class. And, I said you had to bring me proof, and, he wasn't able to do that, so he couldn't make up the assignments. All right. So, anyway, APA, proper use of APA is critical. You will see there are lots of downloads in these things in my announcements. You want to succeed in this class, you're going to see a million announcements, and some of them are going to be repetitious. There's a reason for that, and that is that many students, not you, but many students won't read them the first time, or they'll scan them very quickly, and then they'll come again. And it's frequency. And when we get into the marketing aspect of this class, which is in 3 weeks, we'll talk about that, about frequency. Frequency is how we build awareness and create a need. So I use it, and that's what I'm good at. I'm good at driving you guys nuts with a million announcements. So every time you go in, look and see if you have an announcement and check it off that you've read it. Because when you come back to me and say, are we supposed to do this? Are we supposed to do that? I'm going to say, go look in the announcements. I mean, why would I spend 6 hours writing them and then just give you the secret to the trick? They're all there. Just go in and do it. You know, make copies of things. In fact, this PowerPoint, which I'll make available to you, I'm going to have some coffee, will help you as well. All right. So before we get started, and let me just keep going here. So we have rubrics. We'll talk about the rubrics. APA, you need to know APA. There is a proper format in APA. Now, every paper you do in this class, and I'm going to say it 80 times tonight, needs to have an APA formatted title page. It needs to have a table of contents. It needs to have a minimum of 5 written pages for your project company, 4 for your regular when we do our case studies. It needs to have a separate reference page. Pictures and all of those go into the appendix. So we have no fluff in the middle. You're not going to be able to pad. You pad. Now, let me explain something. If you pad your paper, just so you know, say you turn in 5 pages. It's got a beautiful title page. It's got a beautiful table of contents. It's got a beautiful reference. But you've got 5 pages and 3.5 of them are just written and the rest are charts and diagrams. You only get graded on those 3.5. Every page is worth 20 points. So when you figure that you're going to lose 30 points out of 100 for padding your paper, I think you'll know that it's probably best just to write a few more paragraphs and not pad it. That would be 70 points. 70 points is C in order to get out of this class with to move forward. They may ask you to repeat it. You need to have at least a B. Although C is passing. And the objective there is that you may get an A in another class and the A and the C balance out to a B. But if you know me, and I will tell you this is the truth, out of 16 students last session, I would say that only 1 got a C and 1 got a B+. The rest of them got A's and A minuses. Why? Because in week 2, they realized that I was right. I've been telling you right along how to get an A in the class. It's not that hard. Just follow directions. Don't make assumptions. Communicate. If you don't understand something, ask me. But we do it internally in the class. All right? So make sure you're doing it in the class and don't email me outside of the class. Only unless it's an emergency, and then it's cool. All right? If you want to talk with me one-on-one, we could set up a meeting. However, I don't really like doing that because that's really not the online methodology. Plus, you guys have lots to do. Let's just do a real quick. Oh no, let's wait. Well, let me keep going. You'll see I'm a little scattered. I'm like the Nutty Professor. I worked on that movie too. The second one with Eddie Murphy. Keep up. This is a 7-week course, and the days fly by. I promise you. And in there, we're going to have almost a week holiday where you don't do anything. You talk about flying. This is going to be a Learjet. So, if you don't like writing, oh my gosh, I don't know. You'll be writing in your sleep. I have no idea. Okay. Ask questions. Others may have the same concerns. So if you want to, if you send me an email and you have some questions and I think, okay, you know what, I think I should address this with everybody. If it's good, I'll send out an announcement. If you send out a question in the class discussions, in our forums, there is a possibility that I may not answer it. I mean, because I go through them so fast. I'm reading, think about this. Let's say we have 20 students. On Tuesday, I'm going to get anywhere from 400 to 500 words per those 20 students. On Thursday, I'm going to get another 400 to 500 words. Then, by Sunday, I'm going to get another 750 words per student because those are your peer encounters. Then you're going to do a reflection. Not only that, then you have a 5 to 6 page paper to do. Sounds like a lot. You know what? You'll get it done. Once again, I've done this for more than 4 years, and in 4 years, I think I've only had 4 students not make it through the class. Or if they didn't make it, they dropped out. I had one student that I caught plagiarizing in the first week who happened to be a doctor, a practicing doctor. And he had somebody else do his paper, and I ran it through, and it was 100% plagiarized. And he quit. What can he do? I mean, boy, I don't know. I'm not sure that was a good thing. All right. Ask question. Email. The very best way to get in touch with me is through my Davenport University email. No, don't use that one anymore. That's only for emergencies. This was been changed. Get a hold of me in class. I go in there like 3-4 times a day. That's the best way to do it. Okay, let's stop right now and take just a breath of air. What I want you to do is you'll notice that above my name is a hand. If you would just hit the hand, and then I could see who's in the class. Well, we're waiting for one more. Hassan, are you there? Maybe he's on the... Okay. So, there you go. All right. Hit your hand again. The first test. Okay. Let's keep going. All right. Discussion questions. Oh, I hate those. Respond to each discussion question by its due date. You're going to have one that's due on day 2. Now, the reason why, I know you're going like, well, most classes start on Monday and they end on Friday, and then I have Saturday and Sunday to do all my stuff. Well, the reason for this is it'll eventually catch up to you after the holiday. We will start back on a Monday. But it's set up now because of the holiday, and I'll show you that on the chart. So, discussions are going to be due on the second day. You have until midnight to do it. And on the 4th day, and you have midnight to do it. Okay, now, does that mean I'm going to go and look at midnight to see if you've done it? Well, actually, there is a date stamp on everything. But I know you guys are in school, you've got family to take care of, and things like that. Especially a lot of you are perhaps in vet school. I mean, I've had students in the Cayman Islands, Antigua, and Nevis, everywhere, all over the Caribbean and the United States, doctors, and like I said again. So, if it's an hour or 2, or even 3, I'm okay with that. I'm in Los Angeles. All right, so most of you are 3 hours ahead of me, except for one of the doctors in our class, I believe, is in San Diego, so he's on my time. We do have physicians, okay? They've finished medical school. So, if it takes you a couple hours. Now, why are we doing this? Because the next day, you're going to respond to what people have written. Now, you have 3 responses, so maybe on day 3 you only respond to one person and then you move on, and then the next day you do your 400 or 500 words, and then you have a couple more days to do number 2 and 3, all right? Or you can do it however you want. The point of it is we've got a day in between. So, you respond to each discussion question by its due date. Follow the posted guidelines to its proper length and number of references. Really important. Every discussion question you do should have 2 references. And if we do references, we have to also do in-text citations. If you go into the announcements, there's about 5 videos there that you can play on YouTube that will help you. You don't need to look at all of them. The one, my favorite one, is the shortest one. It's 3 minutes, and the woman sounds like she came from Disneyland. I love her voice, but she's got this squeaky, weird voice, but it's the best one. So it's about in-text citations, and it explains why we're doing it. The other thing is so you know, cutting and pasting is not a good thing in this class. I'm not big on quotes. There's really no reason for you to quote anybody. What you say is, in my opinion, or as stated by, and then paraphrase it. You need to learn how to do that now. Okay, and you understand what this class is all about. This is a transitional class to get you into the program. So you will see that I'm really a stickler for getting you into this stuff. And then when you get in to the program, you're gonna go like, wow, this is easy. You know, I got it all down. This guy jumped on me and made it happen. Okay, so points are deducted for posts that lack proper length. So I do promise you, I will count words. I have a machine here, a program that does that. So if your post, and this does not include responding to if you rewrite the question, doesn't count. Your references doesn't count. We're counting words, 400 to 500. Oh, if you had 392, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. So you need to do 400 to 500 words. That is, you know, that could be 2 significant, 3 significant paragraphs. Do not do APA formatting of your work in the discussions. Only format your references. So don't put a title page or any of that stuff. Just start right from the top going, you know, General Motors is the greatest company in the world, and, you know, I used to work there. I used to put oil into the radiator. I don't know. You know, whatever you want to say. So, and then, in my opinion, but don't overuse that, in my opinion, or, you know, Jack Welch, the head of GE, said, you know, and that's cool. You could do that. And then also make references. So you got 400 to 500 words for your main discussions. You're going to do that twice a week. And then your follow-up discussions, and this is where people usually fail, it's 250 words. So the one thing I will tell you is that what I would do is, because you're responding to somebody else, or you could even be responding to me. So what you do is in the subject line, you know, you might want to say response to Robert, you know, and Robert's post, because I don't read in the order that you do it. I read them, they come to me, you know, like in just one big contiguous line. So it's not, I'm not seeing what you see. So if you don't put somebody's name in there, like, you know, Robert, you said at the very beginning, I think it's your post, your regular discussion post, and it could only be 250 words, and I'm thinking, well, wait a second, you're supposed to do 400 words, and this is rather confusing. So make sure you put the person's name. Professor, you don't have to say Professor Schaps. You don't need to call me my last name. Just call me Professor. That's fine. I have no problem with that. And as, you know, and if you'd like me to call you Doctor, whatever your last name is, I will be more than happy to. But, you know, you don't have to call me my last name. So points are deducted if you don't have the proper length. And, you know, we'll keep going on with that. Your posts need to be formatted according to APA with regards to in-text citations. And if you don't know how to do that, again, watch the videos. You do need to have a title page, reference page, etc. You do not have to have, and I wrote this, in the posts. Don't do it. I'll bet you somebody does it. They're going to write, you know, the name of the thing and their name and my name and you know, and now they've like used up like 3/4 of a page in blank space. No, no, no. We want to be able to scroll through these and read them quickly. Also, don't change the font size. The standard font size for Davenport University is 12 points, New Times Roman. Okay? I'm not allowed to change it, but I do. But only to make notation. Don't change the thing. Now I'm going to tell you another thing. When you cut and paste from your Microsoft Word into Blackboard, there's going to be all kinds of formatting errors. I can promise you. There's a couple of announcements already that discuss that. Just read them and you can go over it. But I'm not going to worry about it, so don't you. Peer engagement posts, there's 3 of them each week. Follow the posted guidelines. Everything is in the forums. If you go into the forums, there's a notation, a thing from me that says, this is what you have to do. Now, the more you put into your peer engagement, the more you get out of it. What you're doing is you're communicating. It would be just like if you were in a classroom, we were sitting in a big circle, and you said, Mary, I hear this all the time. Mary, I thought you did a great job on your post, and there's a technique a friend of mine developed, but I have a video on it somewhere. I'll send out a link, I think, called netiquette. And that's the cookie cutter technique or the sandwich technique. And you say something really nice, and then you rip them to pieces, and then you say something really nice. So you can use that technique. Mary, after reading your paper, I found it to be uniquely different than most anything I've read before. And this is not a bad thing. This is rather an interesting thing. However, I have not seen any research concerning why my swimming pool is blue and not red. I have no idea. So you go in there, or why the dog wags its tail. Why does the dog wag its tail? I'm told that it's because it's happy. Maybe he's not happy. Maybe he's just swatting flies. I don't know. We'll have to ask Lauren, because she's going to be a vet. All right. So each week you will submit a paper. Each week's paper has a different focus. So on weeks 1, 3, and 5, you're going to be working on your project company. If you go into the announcements, you will see samples. I know they're there. If they don't download, just note me, and I'll fix the link. Follow the posted guidelines and review that specific rubric. We'll go into that in a few minutes. Proper APA formatting is critical. Title page, table of contents, answers, reference, and a reference page. Now, let me just tell you this, and I'll say it again. You are not writing an essay for your project company. What you're going to do in this class, and I know somebody's going to write this 15-page essay, you're not doing that. You're going to take the questions and you're going to answer them. You're going to take a question and you're going to answer it. And so this way, when I go in and look at your paper, I could see what the question is. Okay, here's the topic. Now here's your 2 or 3 paragraph answer. And the reason why I do that now is because I discovered that a lot of students will take the question and write 1 sentence and then come back and say, well, I answered all the questions. Where is it? Now I know how much and what detail you put into it. And it's better for you as well because it'll make you think. All right, let's keep going. Are you getting scared yet? Don't get scared. Really. If I could do this class, you can. And I do it 6, 7 times a year. I do it along with you. I've read so much about General Electric, I should probably be a manager in the company. Share with your instructor your personal reflections. So you will be doing these weekly reflections. Wait till the end of the week to do it. I had a student who was doing it on Monday, or day 1, And I'm thinking, well, what's there to reflect on day one? Well, I got up this morning, I had cereal, and it was good cereal, if I remember correctly. And my question was it sugar frosted flakes? So wait to the end. Wait to the end of the week. Okay, it won't take you. It's like, I don't know, maybe 250 words. It won't kill you. Hey, listen, let me tell you something about it. When you do your reflections, reflect on what you learned and how you associate to where you're going. Okay? I know I get these says, well, I'm going to be a doctor and I'm not going to be using this stuff. That's not true. Anything we do in this class, you will be using forever and ever and ever. It's a basis for what's coming. It's frequency. You're going to get this again. You will be getting everything we do in here again, but in more detail, and you'll know exactly how to do it. So try to, rather than this, well, this was a really difficult week. I learned this, I learned that. That's great. Tell me what you learned, but tell me how it applies and what did you learn. That's as simple as it is. You've got all of these notes already. You've written these discussions, or you can even say, I read an article. I read Lauren's post about, elephant viruses. And, that was the first time I've ever heard anything about, elephant viruses. I never had a clue that elephants had any kind of virus. And this particular virus, as I understand it, made their toenails turn purple. And I thought that was quite fascinating. And, and how did it apply to the class? So there you go. Lauren, I'm picking on you because you told me you were going to be a vet. And that was what I should be. My daughter wants to be a vet, but she just loves dogs. All right.